Hello, and welcome to EDF5620, Leading Education and Work. My name is Dr. Kristen Reimer, and I am the unit coordinator for this unit. So I'd like to welcome you to the unit on behalf of Dr. Melanie Brooks, who is the Chief Examiner, as well as Dr. Peter Waterhouse and Dr. Nicholas Sum, who, along with myself, will be your lecturers for this unit. We are the teaching team. So what is the unit about? It's a really interesting unit. We get to explore what it means to be a leader in a specific context, in an educational context. So it's the opportunity to really think together about what is the nature of educational leadership? How is it different to be leading in an educational institute as opposed to any other place? And of course, there are some similarities to leadership in general, and then there are things that are very specific to being a leader in a school or in other educational settings. We look at how leadership is contextualized. We look at what changes depending on what your local setting is, or what changes depending on the national conversations that are happening. What changes when we look at actually the global imperatives. How do global discourses and conversations affect what we do in our very local level? We also look at leadership and think about what that means in terms of it not simply being housed in one person. Of course, who you are affects who you are as a leader, and aspects of your identity affect that. But leadership is also, it's a relational activity. It's a collaborative activity. And so what happens in that space in between people? You know, what are the things that we do as leaders to help the collective to thrive? So we consider these ideas by engaging with the literature. We look at various theories, we look at studies, case studies, we look at the research, we examine concepts, we talk about policies and practice. So we look at the theoretical sort of things, but then we really invite you to make those ideas real, to make them relevant to your own context by thinking through the applications in your own setting, in your own experience. Because that's the interesting thing about a leadership course, is that we all come to the unit with our own experiences of leading, of being a leader in many different settings, and also our experiences of being led. We know what it's like to be a follower. We know how we feel about different styles of leadership, about different skills that leaders bring to the table. So I invite you to really draw on that practical side, draw on your experience of being a leader and of being led, and bring those ideas to the unit. I'd like you to really hold those ideas. Hold them while you're engaging with the readings. Hold them while you're engaging with the discussions. So really hold on to those ideas, because they'll help you to think through things. But what I invite you to do is to hold those ideas loosely. And what I mean by that is I want you to hold them loose enough that you're able to tease out your own assumptions. You're able to think through your own theories of leadership. That they're loose enough that you can interrogate them as you gain new knowledge, new understandings, new tools, new ideas, that you're open to building on what you already know and expanding that, and perhaps revising some of the things that you come to with your own experience. So the exciting part of this unit is that we really get to dig into concepts that are both incredibly rich in theory and conceptual ideas, and yet they're also very relevant. They're very real. They're very familiar to us in our day-to-day lives. So what we find in this unit is there's sort of a continual dialogue between what you're reading and what you're thinking about and what you're living. And it's a dialogue that goes back and forth, that informs one another. So our hope is that this unit is going to introduce you to and extend your thinking, extend your knowledge, extend your skills, present you with tools, and that allow you to better understand, better engage in the act of leadership. There are 3 parts to the unit, as you'll notice looking through Moodle. We look at the context of leadership, we look at inner leadership, and then we look at strategies of leadership, so strategic change. And Dr. Peter Waterhouse, who is one of your lecturers in this unit, last year when we taught this together, he talked about it, I think, very helpfully as sort of 3 legs of a stool, of a seat to sit on. So the context, the inner leadership, who you are, your identity, and strategy. And it's really important to think through all 3 of those as you engage in thinking of how to be a leader. And so we'll be building those 3 legs in order for you to be able to sit more soundly on that stool to move forward in your own practice of leadership. The assessment, which you'll hear more about as we go through, really both parts of the assessment really kind of bring together both the theoretical side with the real life side. What we ask you to do is that you choose an issue, so an issue of your choice, one that's relevant to you, something in a setting of your choice. So maybe it might be an educational setting that you are currently involved in. It might be one that you have been involved in, or one that you can imagine yourself involved in. But some sort of issue in a specific setting that you would like to see some sort of change happen. So you choose that, and then you apply what we're learning about, what do you need to think through about the context in order to think through how change could happen with your issue. What is your own style that you would bring to that? What are strategies that you could bring in order to bring about change, in order to lead change in this specific setting that you've chosen? And I'll put up more videos that are specific to this assessment, and we'll also be talking about them as we go through. I just want to say one quick word about how to engage with the unit. As I mentioned, leading is a relational activity, and I would say that so is learning. So in this unit, we really are a learning community. And that's whether you are engaging fully online or whether you're both engaging online and you'll be coming to some or all of the face-to-face sessions that are offered. But we build each other's understanding. Some of the readings can be fairly difficult, and a lot of the learning happens as we offer our own understandings and build on the understandings of others. So the reading discussions are incredibly important. And that's been our experience. The students have told us that is the thing that they find the most helpful, is how much understanding they gained from listening to and responding to and thinking through the responses from other people's to the reading. So you will be each put into small groups. It will be about 10 to 15 students per group, and you'll form your own sort of reading discussion forum there. And what I ask is that you engage as fully as possible in that, because the more that we engage, the more that we are all going to learn from this experience. So you'll be asked every week to present a reading response, a significant reading response, by the Thursday midnight of the week, and then by the Sunday you'll be asked to respond to at least one person. Again, this is all written through Moodle, and you can look at the details. But we really want there to be a back and forth, and for you to be building upon your understanding and one another's understanding. Each small forum will have one of the lecturers assigned to it, and so we'll be popping in there, asking some questions, clarifying some points if need be, and adding to discussion as well. But it really is your discussion. So on that note, we'll be going with that fairly soon. It will become obvious how it happens. I would ask you to also take the time to introduce yourself on the introductory forum. We'd love to know who's a part of this group. We really do want to see this as a learning community and build that throughout the unit. So I'm going to leave you with one question. Before you get into the first reading, I'd like you to think about. I'd like you to have a specific person in mind. Think through someone very specific that you consider to be a good leader. What are their traits? What are their skills? How do they interact with other people? What is it that they do? What is it that they say? What is it that inspires in you to call them a good leader, to see them as a good leader? In your mind, what makes that person a good leader? What is it? So hold those ideas as you start moving through the unit. Hold them as you start moving through the first readings, but hold them loosely. So welcome again on behalf of Dr. Melanie Brooks, Dr. Peter Waterhouse, Dr. Nicholas Sum. I welcome you to the unit, and we look forward to learning with you. Bye for now.